I would like a refund for the items I was forced to abandon when security escorted me and Tucker, my emotional support possum, out of Dick's Sporting Goods. Can you do that?
Okay.
The second we start rolling, you're like, hi guys.
I start pissing myself.
You're like fully German. You're just like completely fucking
Holy
insane.
German.
You're like,
I feel like I'm either more boring or less boring than my normal self. I watch podcasts and I'm like, I could have done better or I could have toned it down. But I like being a kookier version of myself.
yeah. Sometimes like I would get the note from my podcast last season. People like, are you bored? You just look bored. But I would have on like neuroscientists and like they should.
I don't care about science. I don't care a lot about agriculture.
No.
Let's talk about that. A lot of jobs that I don't see how it's made. I really don't care to.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Stop. I get it. You're an expert. You went to college. Wow.
Oh, good for you. They did it for the tassel hat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a cute hat.
I got a couple tassels and they'll never be on my head.
That's right. Say it louder.
Laura, I love your home. Are we allowed to say that this is your home?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it here.
Thank you.
I'm not leaving.
Don't leave. Look, there's a bed right there.
I know it has my name on it and a couple of my balls on the top. But I have always looked up to you. And I'm not just saying that because we're on camera, because I was saying it before. I really have. I feel like I've met you many times.
Yeah.
I did a great job raising your kids. I thought I can't.
You have killed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
The pushing part was the hardest, but it was all uphill from that.
Yeah.
And your home. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Were you ever, and I'm sure this is elephant in the room, you've been asked this a million times, you must have been afraid when the fires were starting to threaten this area.
Oh yeah. I had my bags packed and you just didn't know.
What is that like? I mean, I'm asking for them. I had to do it too, but packing your whole life.
You have to do it because there was a fire right there.
There was, and it was man-made or woman-made or them-made. I don't know.
Who the fuck is starting these
They
fires?
don't deserve pronouns. I'll tell you that.
They don't.
Yeah, I don't condone killing people in the street, but I think they're the exception. If I saw someone in hockey masks setting my neighborhood ablaze,
I would murder them.
They better hope I have a gun because I'll kill them with anything I got on me.
Yeah. No, I know. Like, what are they doing? Are they just bored?
I think they saw. I don't know. No, they're probably cold.
It is really cold recently.
It is cold, yeah, which is crazy because it's everything's on fire and yet we're freezing, and yet it was pouring the last 3 days, and then the fires are still going.
Well, there's all these conspiracy. Have you heard the conspiracies?
I love these. I love conspiracies.
Yeah, like the one is that they're burning down. They burned down the Palisades. Who's the really rich family?
Kardashian.
The
Kardashian.
The Kardashians.
Doordashians.
There is a conspiracy theory that the Kardashians burnt down the Palisades so they can buy up the land.
One of the people in hockey masks did have Kris Jenner's haircut, and I was very skeptical.
Think about that.
I can see them doing that.
I mean, Kris Jenner has a church, for God's sake.
I know.
Why did she do that? Tax breaks.
Tax breaks. Yep. And to burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw her. I said, Kris, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And she just insulted my jacket and set the fucking thing ablaze.
You're kidding.
No. But I'm glad that you're safe. I'm glad that this place is still safe.
Thank God.
We were just in the backyard. It is beautiful. I got lost.
But you do, yeah. I mean, there was like a few days where we just didn't know. And I don't know. I was kind of like, yeah, it's just stuff. Like, we'll be fine. Like, did you grow up with money?
I didn't grow up with money.
Okay.
But I made a lot of it.
But when you grow up with very little to none, I feel like this could all go and we're going to be just fine. You know what I'm saying?
And divorced parents, that's another thing. It's like life change where you're like, okay, I have to accept that this much is gone out of my life now, or this has to change.
I knew you had trauma from your content.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck happened to him?
Yeah.
What went wrong?
When you're this twisted and this queer, you didn't have a good upbringing.
Who hurt you?
Everyone.
That's what I thought.
Yes. But mostly myself, probably. I honestly was my own worst critic growing up. And so, RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how can anyone else who's going to love you? Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, That's why no one loved me. I was my own worst. I
Yeah.
seriously was. And
But do you feel like you love yourself now?
I think I really am fond of myself.
Depends on the day
Depends
kinda
on the
thing?
day. There are some days where I'm like, you know what, Brandon, I don't love you.
Yeah, same.
Do
Yeah.
you love yourself
It depends on the
or
day.
who you are now? I mean, I don't know who
Yeah.
younger Laura was.
I would say, like, I've come a long way. I mean, I was like you, did not love myself. They say it's like I'm a recovering addict, and they say like a lot of alcoholics are like it's either grandiose or comatose. Like you
Oh
either
yeah.
think you're like the best thing in the entire world or like I should kill myself, I'm worthless. Like
Oh
so
yeah.
I was very like extreme in my
Oh.
perception of myself. You know, it was either like I'm the greatest or the worst, but like I've learned
Mhm.
through sobriety
Yeah.
to be honestly, it's just humility. It's like I'm not
Mm.
better than or less than anyone else. It's just staying right sized. You're just right sized. You're just
Just exactly right size, appropriately sized.
appropriately sized person.
I like
And
that.
that's a practice, you know?
Mhm.
On the days where I'm hard on myself, it's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm enough because I am.
That's good that you have that kind of forgiving, realistic relationship with yourself,
Yeah.
because I think that's realistic. I think
Yeah.
people are much more hard on themselves than they should be.
Totally. Yeah.
And I love that I'm getting to know this very real side. This is our first time
Yeah.
ever meeting each other, although we've known each other online for years now. We have so
Yes.
many mutuals.
So many
I feel like if either one
mutuals,
of us died, we would know a lot of the
people
people
at
at
our
the funeral.
funeral.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would. Yeah.
That's true.
You work with Manon is also someone I've never met, but I feel like
Oh,
I know
really?
her. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's so
The
funny.
2 of you are just so fucking hysterical
Thank you.
together.
Yeah, she's
Jesus
like
Christ.
we're also very similar. But I was watching your content last night and I literally was crying. Not even laughing, crying,
Oh,
just
no.
purely crying
Oh my god.
because it was so disturbing. No, I'm just kidding. Because it was just so beautifully done. Like what
Holy
you're
shit.
doing is so I don't know. Like I've seen your clips and like I've seen you
Mhm.
and I've always like, oh, he's amazing, hysterical,
Oh.
so innovative, so original. Then I was like really deep diving last night and it was like so incredibly impressive. If you guys don't follow Brandon, you have to and watch. It was just it was like a spiritual experience watching your stuff.
Oh,
And
damn.
I'm like, are you high for some of this?
Oh, well, I actually never act high. I write and edit and direct. A little stoned.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
And that helps you.
it does. It does. You see, a lot of people say they get lazy and they get whatever depressed or whatever bad emotions come from being stoned. Everyone's brain is different. I've never quite seen anyone get high the same way, like between people. Like everyone gets
Yes,
high differently.
totally. Yeah.
For me, a lot of the time, like yes, it can make me tired and whatever, but a
Yeah.
lot of the time, it puts my brain where I feel like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I have really bad ADHD. Um, and I'm sure, a flurry of other
Yeah.
things that are off kilter in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, weed definitely. I hate even calling it weed because it sounds like I take pills. It's very like prescribed.
Medicinal.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
not
just gonna
like
say that.
Mhm.
It's like you're self-medicating in the best way. I mean, what do they prescribe people with ADHD typically? Adderall. They literally
Adderall,
prescribe you
meth.
legal speed. It's
Oh
meth.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
literally meth. But
yeah,
it's speed.
yeah.
So it's like you're taking this thing that's helping you to focus and calm and it works for you, which I
Long
think is amazing.
Yeah, I do too. I really think there's two ways you can use a drug. You can use it to have fun, or you can use it to get shit done, or you could use it to drown out pain. Actually, there's a million
Yeah.
reasons for drugs, but between the two, I'm either using
Yeah.
it to have fun or to get shit done. Um,
Totally.
and I'm in the morning. I definitely coffee and a little bit a little bit of cannabis, and I'm unstoppable.
That's interesting. This is actually, I've never really talked about this. And I think it's because I have a lot of recovering addicts who follow me because I've been open about my journey through addiction. I was taking like hard drugs. It was not good. I didn't do it safely. I would end up in like
Mhm.
Tijuana with some random Irish guy I met at a bar. Like
I
it
need
wasn't
to
good.
know who you are.
I
I
know.
don't know anything
No,
about you.
because I'm not that,
Yeah.
it's like I'm not that person. Now I go to bed at like 10 o'clock and like I take ginger shots,
Oh,
it's like that.
s
It's different. But I was gonna say now the one thing I'll do, I do coffee in the morning and
yeah.
through the day, let's be honest.
Mhm.
And I feel like that helps with my ADHD for sure. And then I'll do CBD at night. And the CBD they say has like a little bit of THC, like all CBD does.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I wonder like it's weird because they say like, if you're a recovering addict, you cannot take anything mind altering or it releases the phenomenon of craving and the allergy in the body. And then you're vulnerable to take the next drink, which leads to this. But I gotta say, the CBD has been, I don't do it through the day. Like I do it like to calm my anxiety or like help me focus or help me sleep. And like, there's been no downsides to it, you
That sounds a
know?
little churchy. I'm not here to, yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, like to say
You
like, oh, well,
know?
all things are,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've also suffered with it. Like I've had
Yeah.
things that I've been addicted to
Like what?
and other things. Oh my God. I had a very alcoholic
No way.
2020 through 2022, like law of lockdown, essentially. I
We're
thought
just
it was,
fucked
I
up.
just thought it was an excuse to do anything I wanted. And I
Just
did.
wake up and drink. You can't leave the house.
I
What
did.
else are you gonna do?
I left it mentally. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. I did a
Yeah.
lot of shit. I did everything but meth. No, I
But
I didn't do the meth
yeah.
myself. I was in a
Somebody else.
tight bathroom
Okay.
with someone who was, and I gotta tell you, that shit stinks. It
Really?
smells like shoes.
It smells
It
bad,
smells like shoes and chemicals.
but it
Meth.
feels great.
It feels actually actually it's a little scary. I couldn't tell how loud I was talking. I'd be
Really?
like, we gotta keep our voices down. Everyone can hear us right now. Yeah, meth, it makes you a little bit.
Best drug I would say hands down is mushrooms though. Do you ever do that?
Oh yes, I do mushrooms. I'm California, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, so you struggled with addiction.
Yeah.
It progressed in the pandemic and what happened?
I just had to cold turkey a lot of it. I'm really
Really?
good at enduring and suffering. Like I
Yeah.
really am. If I need to quit, it's not fun, but I can isolate myself. You know,
Yeah.
if I am trying, or also food. Oh, food is my biggest addiction. I used to be
Really?
obese.
No way.
I was. Yeah, there's videos. I mean, I used to make videos back in the day when I was still a goddamn ball. And you know what? And I've learned really to love that version of
Yeah.
myself. For a
Yeah.
long time I didn't. You know, you lose all the weight and then you look back at yourself like that you demonize that thing you used to be. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just over the years I found journals and things from that era that
Yeah.
reminded me like who I really was. Because the only evidence I have from that time were the comedy videos I was making. So I just see this like fat goofball. I'm like, oh, you piece of shit.
Mm.
But then I forget who I really was, and I see certain things that I'm like, oh, he was really kind of a brilliant guy at times. And and
Yeah.
it's sad too because I remember how I hated myself then, and even after losing the weight, how much I hated myself immediately after losing the weight. And
Yeah.
I think a really important part of any kind of getting over a version of yourself is still
Mhm.
learning to love that version of yourself, even though it was fucked up. You
Wow.
know, and
Wow.
so I'm sort of in the state of being happy with who I am physically, but respecting, you know, who I was that got me
I
here.
love
Because
that. Dude, we are
that out of
so
shape,
wise. It
that
kind of makes
person
me
had to
sick.
like suffer for me to exist. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I had no idea that like
Yeah.
I just assumed you were drinking ginger shots since you were born.
No, not at all. But that's so interesting. That's like one other way that we're very similar. So both ADHD, which I was just talking about this yesterday. I feel like everyone on the fucking planet has ADHD. I had Dr. Amen, who's like a psychiatrist and
Mhm.
like brain doctor on, and he was talking, and I was like, why does every person on the planet have ADHD? He's like, well, no, you just attract those people. You attract similar minded people into your
Yeah.
lives, which I thought was interesting. But so that we both struggled with addiction. So you had food stuff, and they say addicts, it's like whack-a-mole. So like you get one under control and then another one pops up, right? And like that can be so true, dude. When I
Yeah.
put down alcohol and drugs, suddenly I became addicted to definitely like sex and love. Like that was a thing. It wasn't like random people on the street for me, but it was like
Mhm.
I'd meet a guy and I'd make him my higher power and he was my everything. And
Oh,
if
yeah.
we weren't good, then I was not good. And
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know, and it was just like that. Just that love is, I believe, the most potent drug out there.
Mhm.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's like pure fucking Colombian cocaine right
And
there.
those withdrawals
Dude.
are not fun.
Hell no. Hell no.
No.
They say it starts as like a cocaine high, and then the longer you get, it's almost like that heroin, that um just that crazy intense feeling. And when something doesn't work out or when you break up, it's like your whole world is shattered.
Right.
So love, sex and love, and then like got that under control, and then the work addiction popped up. I don't know if you've had that, but
Mhm.
man, because you're in your element, you're finally doing the thing you're meant to be doing, and you're doing it on a big scale, and
Mm.
that it can feel Addictive? Almost. I
You
feel
know,
like it's a good one
it's
though.
a good one because here's the thing,
Yeah.
everyone has a job that they
Yeah.
do, you might as well
You
love what
might
you
as well
do.
love it.
And here's the thing,
Yeah,
I think work is a very healthy distraction from anything else. If
totally.
you're going through a breakup, if you're getting over a drug, anything,
Yeah.
get to work, and you'll forget about. And what's the downside to that? I mean, I guess it could consume you if you work too much. It could consume from, and I've suffered from that. I've had very lonely eras of my life because I
Yeah.
didn't allow myself to have community or I just would only work. And I thought, well, I'm
Wow.
seeing people on my shoots, I'm seeing my
Yeah.
crew, so it's like I'm not
You're
lonely
like, "Wait a minute, I'm paying them to hang out with me." Do you ever think about that?
all the time. And actually, I talk about this like,
Wait a minute.
and I still kind of go through that. Realistic. I mean,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I live by myself, and I pretty much only have people over if something like this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's they'll hit you at 3 in the morning. These thoughts, or you're just like, huh, like most of, if not everyone I know either works for me
Yeah.
or knows me through this world of entertainment.
Yeah.
And when did you realize that you like, I'm a public figure, I'm famous?
Yeah. It still doesn't, I swear. I think because I'm kind of like you, like I'm more of a homebody. I don't go many places actually. I mean, I guess you do live, don't you? I really want to start doing
Sometimes
live,
I'll
so I
do
want to pick
live.
your brain
Yeah.
about that. But like, so I don't meet people so much, but when I go out and people come up, it's
Yeah.
still in a sense, I guess it's less shocking now. You just forget. I forget the amount of people that see my content. So I don't know that it's still ever hit me. I don't think I have imposter syndrome, but
Mm,
there's something about like there's a difference between like a traditional celebrity and like us
yeah.
and the online content
Let's get
creators.
into that because I
Even
got
though
a
you
lot.
have 7 fucking million followers on YouTube and everyone knows who you are, it's like there's just a difference there,
It does feel like a lot of me is embarrassingly still the same person I was before,
which I
and
love though.
I love it too. There's a lot of my, like, traits that I thought I would get rid, like insecurities
Yeah.
or things about myself that I thought would not be there when
When
I
you hit a
became,
certain level.
and there's so yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There's a good amount of it that feels very, but then even before I
Yeah.
made it, I would like I remember practicing my autograph in high school. Like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
part of me kind of always,
So that's a great question. Did you always know what you wanted to
yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Dude,
And I'm lucky
yeah,
because not a lot of people have that
yeah,
luxury of
yeah,
knowing what, I know people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s who've spent their whole life trying new things happily,
yeah,
but just never really knowing what they wanted to do. And
yeah,
it's and not to say that that's bad either. That could be fun
yeah,
trying new things your whole life. But ever since I was a kid, I've known that I feel so much better
yeah,
in a wig, on a camera, being someone else,
yeah,
living this alternate life, and then
yeah,
taking the mask off and get safely be myself again. And
yeah.
um,
Dude, I'm the same, and I agree with you. It's like there's a freedom for people who maybe don't have that obsession or purpose looks different for everyone. Sometimes like someone's purpose could just be like, I want to have kids and that's it. And like it's not this, I don't know. They don't have this focus of like, this is what I want to do work wise, but I do
yeah,
feel lucky that I always knew too. Like when I
yeah.
was 12, I wrote a letter to SNL when I was like 11 or 12. And I was like, Dear Lauren Michaels, one day I'm going to be on your show and I'm going to make it so funny. And I just wanted to let you know that. Thank you. Love you. Bye, Laura.
And I'm so glad
He
you weren't
never
because
got
we
back.
would have never got this version of you.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you were
Yeah.
going back to what you're saying, this type of celebrity
Yeah.
that we are, this self-made.
Yeah.
And when you're self-made, it's cool because you're really in total control of your flavor. When people stumble across you, you're responsible for what they're thinking and feeling more
Yeah.
than, like, let's say you were in a sketch
Yeah.
on a show where someone else wrote it and you had to, it's not fully you. I feel like every time I see you, every time I see fucking Pamela
Yeah.
Pumpkin,
Yeah.
I'm seeing an entire part of your soul that you crafted.
Yeah.
You made this, and not only that, I just have to say, you're in incredible shape. Like
Oh,
seeing you, I think this,
thank
like, was
you.
it not Pumpkin? It was a Thanksgiving one that you did, and
Thanksgiving
it
one.
was a Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, the workout, Thanksgiving
Yeah,
workout. Yeah. Yeah.
I was watching that this last year, and I was going, damn, you are like
Thank you.
nailing it on all 6 cylinders.
Oh
It's
my God.
like,
Thank you.
because that dance does not look easy.
Really? That's so
Mhm.
funny because I don't know what I'm doing at all.
Really?
Yeah, I like it's so funny because I was just talking to this actual dance instructor who's like legit. And I was like, hey, we should collaborate on a workout. And she's like an actual dancer. Whereas like I'm a clown who pretends to be able to dance. And so I just have to
Mhm.
fake it, but I don't at all know what I'm doing. I just make the shit up. Or like I looked up how to do the mashed potato and I just like YouTube tutorialed how to do that. I'm like, okay, I do that with my feet. Okay, I think I can do that. It's like, but there's
Ah,
no, but I think like you're right. It's when people say now, like, oh, my dream is SNL, I go, why? Bitch, why?
yeah.
We have global distribution at our fingertips.
Right?
You can make whatever you want and post it, and you don't have to get the approval from 20 producers.
Right.
Why would you ever want to do that? I understand in the late 90s or early 2000s, you wanting to do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No.
And you can make your own hours and you could actually make more money, even if you're smart.
Yes, you can. Yes,
And total creative freedom. And that's what you do. That's what's like, that's why I was crying because it's so beautiful what you're doing. Like,
but likewise, I feel
oh
like
my
most people
God.
don't get it, and you get it. And I feel like I have to explain what you're saying
Yeah.
to other people.
Yeah.
Every weekend I go to a different convention and I'm
Yeah.
around celebrities that did follow that trail.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of like, oh, well, you're a YouTuber, you're a
No, I
content
know.
creator. Content. There's a reason why the word content and content are okay. I'm a filmmaker who happens to be on YouTube, and a clown, like you said.
You're
I'm
a
a clown,
filmmaker.
and I think that being a clown,
Yeah.
it's nice to not be filtered. It's nice to
Dude.
everything, and that's
Like the
Yeah.
majority of what you make would never, no network would touch it with a 10-foot pole.
no,
Truly.
no.
And I love it. And I love that you always like hit that line of almost getting canceled, but you won't, but you'll go there. You'll go to places that are most people would be too scared to go to. And I fucking love that.
I think audiences are smart. I think
They
people can
are.
tell when you're holding back, and like they can tell when I'm holding back. I was
Yeah.
really during 2020, I got really scared, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I should just make stuff that's really safe.
Yeah.
And I got more of more of a backlash from that because it's like, oh, well, now your brand has changed.
Well,
Like,
that brings me to another point I want to talk to you. When I first started, I was incredibly vulgar. Like
what?
in
What?
like in like 2015 maybe when I was like really when I was I kind of came up on like the 15-second Instagram.
Mm.
Remember when it was 15 seconds on Instagram?
Yeah.
So around that time, I was like just after Vine is when I really started.
You have such Vine energy. I'm surprised you didn't come from that era.
I just didn't. I was doing like bad sitcoms and commercials before. I was doing traditional.
So you were doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then I started seeing my friends like Batch and these like random people making videos online. And I was like, Batch has 20,000 followers on YouTube. Are you kidding me?
Can I tell you? I really fast, Batch. I have a story about. I'm sorry, I'm touching you now.
It's okay.
I didn't ask, but I'm assuming it's okay. Batch and I worked together a long time ago, and I have a story about him that no one. I've never
Tell
told this
me.
to anyone. We did a hidden camera show, and it never went anywhere. We were, and this is before. This is right before he got famous. Because I remember when we were filming this, he was checking his phone constantly
Yes,
because he was like
yes,
watching his
yes,
numbers blow up.
yes.
So this was mid Vine era,
Yeah.
prime Vine era, and we were in an elevator, and we were doing this thing where we had a whoopee cushion, and we would like fart, and then like see how people in the elevator would react. And he farts, and there was this little kid right there next to him, and he farts, and then he just points at the girl like this. And the kid was like, and like so embarrassed. And luckily we never did anything with it. But that was one of the funny.
That's
I remember
funny.
because it was my job to film it because I was like holding the
Oh
camera
my
like this.
God. See,
And
I love that.
seeing him fart in the elevator and blame anyone around him.
Yeah.
I thought, and I didn't know who he was. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? So I've been so proud. Like, anyway, he made me laugh from day one.
I know.
But the Vine era, yeah, you seem like you're cut from that cloth just
Yeah.
because your stuff is so good without any context.
Yeah.
You don't need to know the other videos. If any video I've
Yeah.
seen of yours could be the first one.
That's funny.
And
I
it's
love
so
that. Thank you. No, I was not. I had done a series on YouTube that I like wrote, and because I came from the traditional world, dude, and I was just so creatively frustrated because I had no control whatsoever over my career. And so I was just sitting in the casting room with like 9 other lanky blonde girls going, am I gonna get this one? And then I remember there was this sitcom and it was good and it was funny. And I was like, this is it. This is going to be the next Friends and I'm going to be the Phoebe and it's going to be fucking amazing, right? It was like the 4th call back and I thought for sure I would get it. I get a call from my agent on my way home saying, hey, just want to let you know they offered the role to Brooklyn Decker. And I go, Brooklyn Decker? Brooklyn Decker? I'm like, yeah, she's hotter than me, but I'm funnier than her. You know?
That
True.
is...
I mean, Brooklyn, you're hotter, but I'm funnier.
No, that's arguable. I don't know Brooklyn. I don't know her. But
she's like a model and she's great. Like she's hot, but like point is
the name's not that
the point. The point is, dude, it was just like, I was so pissed. And then I remember I had done this commercial where I played this runway model, this Capital One commercial, and this comedian girl, this gorgeous like comedian model chick came up to me and she goes, hey, do you want to write a web series? And I was like, a web series? That's lame. Because, you know, it was like at that time where no one was doing it, right?
Right.
And then I was so frustrated that I had no control that I called that model on my way home and I was like, hey, that web series you want to write, come over tomorrow. We're writing it.
Oh, damn.
And we wrote it and it was about these like just dumb models who were incredibly underqualified to do anything else and they were just failing and falling and whatever. It was terrible. Like it was in a great show, but it was like not about that. It was about like I was finally writing and producing and creating and I was like, oh, I'm never going to be on the other side again. Like I'm never going to do that, to the point where I like fired my agents. I decided to post a video every single day for a year. And from that's where I, you know, kind of took off. But I'm curious for you. So where'd you grow up?
Bay Area, small town, Livermore, right up outside of San Francisco.
Okay.
And it was like Springfield from The Simpsons. We had like our movie theater, we had our bars. It was very just basic,
and
very basic.
Siblings?
I had one brother.
Okay.
He's still alive.
Okay, cool.
And one sister. And he is a software engineer and she is into chemical engineering. And so it's like, I mean,
so autistic.
Actually, my brother's. I don't know actually if my sister. I get. I have.
When someone says engineer, I'm like, oh, autistic. But
no, yeah, seriously. I have autism runs like a track runner in my family.
Yeah.
No, my brother and sister are. They're much smarter than I am. I'm the only one.
There's different types of intelligence.
There are different types of intelligence. I got the dumb one.
Yeah.
No, but really though, I'm the only one in my family who works in entertainment. Everyone is a fucking accountant or a fucking.
I've got a mathematician and a farmer for my 2 sisters. So yeah.
Oh damn.
Same.
You have 2 sisters.
2 older sisters. Yeah.
Mathematician and a farmer.
Yeah, you know.
Oh my God.
I mean, kinda. She lives on a 80-acre farm. She grows her own potatoes. That's the extent of it. But and then my other sister is a high school math teacher. But I'm just saying, like, so different. So different.
I think of all the math jobs, I think high school teacher is like the fun one.
Totally.
Right? Because you're still kind of trending.
But she like loves math. I'm like, I don't understand. Like I took geometry 3 times.
Oh my God.
3.
I would be such a cool math teacher. I'd be like, that is slay squared.
But were you good at it?
No, I failed many of my classes.
Same.
You know, I only
So we're the same.
We are the same. I feel like, I don't want to ask your age, but I have a feeling we're the same age.
38. I'm 38.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. I'm 37. I'm about to be 37.
So same.
Sometimes I can just tell when someone's right at my age. You know,
I know. Oh yeah, totally.
You know,
I assumed.
And you said you grew up in California?
Right outside Chicago. Like 10 miles west of the city in a place called Downers Grove, Illinois, which sounds really depressing, but it's not. It was actually like really idyllic. It was like just this suburb. You could play out on the streets and, you know, it was fun. Like I had, as dysfunctional as my family was, dad, alcoholic, you know, now, by the way, he has dementia. He still knows who I am. But I saw in an interview with you that you were scared to get dementia. And I wanted to talk to you about that too, because that's my biggest fear too. Same.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Fucking same.
You know, it's taught me to really enjoy every moment in the moment. Because when you have dementia, sometimes that's all you have is just that moment.
I know.
And you're living in their world. And, you know, it's the most tragic, but like beautifully, I've seen it be a very peaceful, because my grandparents, now I've seen it be the opposite where other people get it and they're a piece of shit.
Sure.
But in my family, at least, knock on wood, everyone who gets dementia becomes this much sweeter version of themselves.
Dude, that's my dad. I mean, he had, for sure, my mom says he freaks out sometimes or like gets the rage at times. Mm-hmm. But from what I've seen, he's so much sweeter than he was, you know, and you're right. Like you stay present because it's kind of all you have.
It's like a dream. I feel like they're living a constant dream where like in a dream, there's no beginning or end. You're just kind of in that moment. You don't know how you got there.
Yeah.
And, I just kind of treat them as if they're always in that moment of like, I don't know how far back he remembers from this point.
Do your parents? Do either your parents?
They're good. I mean, they're forgetful sometimes, but that's just them. I am too, but
But they're
that's the way
divorced. When did they
they're
divorce?
divorced. Yeah, I was 2000, year 2000. I remember like right at Y2K at midnight. That was like when the divorce was legally finalized.
And how
so
was that?
It was, I lost a lot of childhood wonder during that time because I think when your parents divorce, when you're 10 years old, like I was, it's a very cold reality. Everything of family and safety that you knew of is kind of thrown in the toilet.
Yeah.
Now your home is divided. Now you have two other parents that you have to. And I was a piece of shit stepchild.
Wow.
I did not give my step parents any respect, which I kind of feel bad for now. But then I look back on some of the things that they said to me. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. You deserved a little piece of shit in your life. Exactly. And also, like as a kid, like fuck anyone who like says, oh, here's your new parent. Now and then gets mad at the kid when they don't acclimate, right? Because every parent is so different. That was hard. But I think I like how calloused it made me. I think as a kid,
it made you really funny.
Thank you.
Who knows if you would have been that funny?
I probably wouldn't have.
So thank God for your parents divorcing.
Thank God for trauma.
Do you know what I'm saying?
We earned it.
Actually, yeah. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
But wait, so it was really hard. But did you see it coming? Like, did they have a tumultuous relationship? Did they hide it? No way.
I did not see it coming. I remember like shortly before they told me they were splitting up, I was in the garage watching them like organize stuff. And I thought, look how well they work together. They're organizing everything. And then I told them, you two are the best parents in the world. I'm so happy to have you both. I remember telling them that. And then like a month later, they were like, fuck you. We're no longer living together. No, they didn't say fuck you. Right? But that's how as a kid, you're like, oh, I felt kind of lied to, and they didn't lie to me, but like,
did they tell you why? Did they tell you too much, not enough?
Well, here's the thing: they had me when they were like 21.
Oh,
they were
really?
kids having kids.
That checks out.
And I didn't even then. I kind of realized I knew they were younger than all my friends' parents, and I kind of knew that like maybe they had me without really thinking about what they wanted to do with life, because 21 is young. And so I thought to myself, like, don't blame them. No, it's just no one's fault. Like literally they did things at a very young age. They found out who they were after they had me, and they realized they just weren't. And I would rather them get split and be happier than to like push through and be miserable just so I can go to a college I would drop out of eventually. Like,
wow.
I'm really happy that they are living and they're still with the people that they initially went and so
really
they're both in very like happy places, and I'm happy for them.
So they have good relatieveful.
Yeah.
So do you believe in love and
that's
marriage and all of that? Because I don't know.
Right now, I'm not too believable.
I am not believable either. Not even in a morbid way. I just feel like we were kind of sold a lie.
We were, and you know the cold truth of love, and this is something I've come to. I hate this.
Tell me.
I feel like the only way love can end happily is if you both die in a car crash. When I hear about a couple that dies together, a plane crash, car crash, I go, good for fucking them.
Wow.
C'est la vie. I hope, because neither one of them will have to lament the loss of love in their life, right? And I think about it like a couple that is, beautifully in love for decades, and then one of them dies, and then the other one dies shortly after. All the time, because you're ripping out more than their heart. You're ripping out like their life, and but that's tragic. That's tragic. My grandma got dementia when my grandpa died. It's like her brain just decided to stop being there because there was no reason. And she would say shit like, oh, I don't want to be. Like, you can just tell it. Like, even now, she's like, it costs something. Everything that goes up must come down. And if you're alive to see it come down, love is very painful to exit your life. And I've lost enough love in my life to where I feel pretty hardened about it. I welcome it, but I'm not making it my identity when it comes into my life, just because I've done that before. And you can lose yourself in love. You can lose focus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What, are you in a relationship now?
No. Oh God, no.
Oh God, no. Are you dating? Are you dating?
I am loosely dating. It's hard because I'm at a convention every weekend. I mean,
Every weekend? Where
almost
are these
every weekend,
conventions?
all over the
What
country.
are they for?
They're like Comic Cons. They're for
All of them?
and they're so much better than like
What do you?
Playlist or
Oh
VidCon.
yeah, because
I
those are
used to
the
do
only
this.
two I've been to.
Yeah, and they don't pay you to go to those things, and I'm not going back to VidCon, so I don't
Dude,
care.
so you go, they pay you to go and you meet fans,
You
and
meet
what do you
fans.
perform, or you just meet
No, you
fans and
just
you
sign
shut the
prints,
no.
and there's a big disconnect. There
But
are
your fans are probably so hardcore now. You
Oh my
got
god,
hardcore.
honestly though, I do have the best one. If you
I
look at
believe
my
it.
line of people versus the other
I
celebrities' lines
love
of
it. I
people,
can imagine.
it's like
Yeah.
colored hair, tattoos,
It's just a
piercings.
line of neurodivergence.
It's
Just
yes.
yeah.
And like love. I'm
Yeah.
seeing people make friends in line with each other,
Of
and I'm thinking
course.
like, those are the people I would have hung
Yeah.
out with, if I wasn't here right now. Like these are the people that I would make friends if they had no clue who I was.
100%. And I think that's why they're attracted to us, that because we would be friends. And I look at like my fans, they're 80% women, like awesome women, great sense of humor, smart. And then I always say it's like 80% women, 20% gay men. Like that is it. And it's
Yeah.
the best ever.
There's
Like,
a lot of subtlety
ever.
in our stuff that I feel like
Yeah.
you have to have kind of a bit of a brain to truly admire, especially your stuff.
Totally.
Like
No,
anyone
your
who
stuff.
says I like Laura Cleary, it's like I that tells me like what you absorb in your mind, because your stuff is so well made. And I not to go back. I'm very ADHD jumping right now, but like
I know I want to get back into your like how when you first started, but let's no, tell me, finish your thought. Finish that.
When I see your stuff,
Yeah.
I think to myself, she could have stopped at being pretty or being a dancer or being like, whenever I see your comedy, there's always a level of something else where I'm like, you could have just done that and created a whole identity on that. But like, you're a comedian, you are a clown who's so perfectly wears the other hats of people you're playing that it's
Thank
like, oh, she could have done that if she wanted to, and
thank
so
you.
I think even your cooking video with your subtle voice, I'm like, if you wanted to, you could have seriously done that.
Oh, like actually done.
Like actually done that. And
but like that's not fun. I need to be a clown.
Same.
Like I truly, nothing makes me happier than making people laugh. And it was like that even as a kid. Like I remember sleepovers when I was like 8 years old, and it would be all my friends in one room. And this was when there were house phones, right? Remember house phones? And so they'd have the house phone on speaker and on mute in the other room. And I'd have a phone in the other room, and I would prank call endlessly for hours. And they would just be in there crying, laughing, pissing themselves as I was like pranking people for hours. And that was it. And it was like, I was like the entertainment for my friends, And it was like so clear as a little kid, like, oh, I'm really shit at school and I can't focus and like whatever, but I'm really funny. And how can I find a way to do this for a living? Because I have no other skills. And I became obsessed with just figuring that out. Wow. And so, so,
that's crazy. You had that experience. I think as you're saying that, I'm thinking, I think that's how I came to realize I liked comedy too, because mine was more of people bullying me. And I found that making them laugh disarmed them.
I love that. Yeah. So it's like a defense mechanism. That you realized was a gift.
And then, I took my first acting class freshman year of high school. And that was the first class or first like setting where I was allowed to be funny in front of strangers who had to listen to me. Because our teacher would just have us go up on stage and just improvise scenes, which is so much fun.
What were you bullied for?
I was very fat. Very gay. And the thing is, I really like the way I talk now. I probably would sound a lot gayer if I was a teen today.
Oh, how the times have changed, because I feel like kids don't experience it the way that
a very small part of me feels like, kids today don't know how good they have it. But then a much bigger part of me is like, thank God kids have it this good now.
Totally.
Right. Thank God they don't have to know the world that I came from, or people before me even more so. Like the same could be said about us.
I know. I even feel that way. Like my 5-year-old is autistic, and he was, when he was diagnosed at 2, they were saying he was never going to speak. He was diagnosed with severe autism. Now he's like literally so smart. He's stringing sentences together. And not that nonverbal autistic kids are not smart, because they're fucking geniuses. And literally there's a podcast called Telepathy Tapes. Okay. And it literally tracks these nonverbal autistic like teenagers normally, and how they can hear their parents and close friends' thoughts. They will do tests, like very intricate tests where they have the kid in one room, mother on the other side of the house. They'll show the mom a picture of like a green whale in a living room. Okay. Very specific. They'll say, think of this, think of this. The kid types on his iPad, green whale in living room. I'm not kidding you. And there's stories from all over the world where literally they communicate through telepathy. They can hear your thoughts. The mom will think something, the child hears it, and they think that everyone has this. I swear to God, I see my son sometimes and I'm like, it's like he's on mushrooms constantly. He's laughing hysterically and I don't know what he's laughing at. He looks at me so deeply, like in my soul. And I can just
like mama's constipated.
But it's so wild. But anyway, I'm like totally getting derailed.
Insane.
My point is like, he's different, right?
Yeah.
And so thank God, like, it's so funny. Like, you could almost argue autism is trendy. You fucking see it on TikTok. Everyone's diagnosing themselves. But the point is, it's accepted. People are accepting it. And they're discovering, like, that it truly is a spectrum. That, like, a lot of people are on and they didn't even know it. You know?
It seems like autism just came out of the blue, but no, it was always here. No, everyone just, oh, you're kooky, oh, you're stupid, oh, you're whatever.
It's the weird kid, the eccentric kid.
Right. No, I feel the same way. Yeah, there are some people in my family who are just recently being diagnosed with autism. And I'll admit, even I thought growing up, I'm like, oh, that's just your weird aunt. That's just your weird uncle. And now as adults are being like, no, I'm fucking autistic, bro. And you know, I would love to have a autistically nonverbal therapist. That way they could just know what I'm going through.
Exactly. And not talk. Yeah, exactly. Hilarious.
That's insane though. I did not know
Dude,
that.
you should look. Telepathy tapes, you guys. And it sounds like at the beginning I was like, yeah, right. Like that's not real. Like, come on. That's like one mother and son like bullshitting us, or like maybe it happens once in a blue moon, but no, there's countless stories over and over.
If a machine can see our brain activity, I wouldn't be surprised if a brain could hear it. But
it's wild.
Imagine though, hearing everyone's thoughts.
I know.
I wouldn't.
But I think you have to have a connection. Like, I don't know. Although they were saying that's why some kids get so sensory overload in big public places. Because imagine you're hearing everyone's thoughts. And it's why like they get so overwhelmed in those crowded spaces, and why some need headphones and like think about that. And so I honestly, Alfie can't tell me right now, but I would not be shocked if he can hear like what is going on. Cause I'm not kidding you. He'll just stare into your soul for like a long time. And I know he's trying to talk to me when he does, you know? It's really cool.
I think that is a beautiful thing about making comedy on the internet, is that I do think that a lot of people who are neurodivergent can watch, you know, it's like, especially because they could replay it again, you know, and it's like watching something that scratches the brain in a certain way. That's replayable, that's safe to watch. You can watch it in private. And I think it's really cool that we can give little droplets of dopamine to people throughout their day, and just like the simplest little hot dog. I call them hot dog videos because hamburger's gone out the window, where now everything's hot dog and short. But
how do you feel about that?
I feel yes and no about it.
Because it's cool for you because you make these, you are a filmmaker. So you make these fucking short films and proper series. Like, it's incredible. But I find when I was watching them last night, I'm like, these are so brilliant. And then I'm like, and how clippable? Like, my brain goes, oop, clip right there and clip right there. And like, how cool that you can extract that and people can watch it in small doses and get that hit. And if they're really invested, they go watch the full thing. That's kind of awesome.
It is cool. It's a form of entertainment that I didn't think would exist when I started, like, 16 years ago. I didn't think, 16 years ago, YouTube was really more of a hobby site, or like no one would ever consider it like a place where you can make money.
So how did you get started?
Well, in high school, I used to film on a mini DV cam, videos that but I would take them seriously. They would have a plot, they would have a script. I would get my friends to be in it, and then I didn't know how to edit. I had to do it in the camera. So if we fucked up a take, you had to rewind back.
Yes, I used to do that shit.
But it was fun. I didn't care. I didn't realize that there was a much easier way to do it. And once the year that YouTube came out was the year I decided to learn how to use iMovie, because I'm like, I want to edit in the computer. I'm gonna, and every week I would screen whatever we shot at our school. A teacher would let us use the classroom at lunch,
No.
and we would just watch. And we were all watching ourselves. It was the people who were in it that was making it for themselves. So it was really a beautiful,
Oh,
like,
wow.
other people were playing Magic the Gathering. Other people had football,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck. That was what we did, was making videos. And it was a
Who's
cool,
we?
just me and my friends. And I don't know. I honestly don't really keep in
Who
touch
were your
with.
friends?
They were the weirdos. They were the,
Same.
yeah, you really,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, looking back on it now, a lot of them had to have been pretty neurodivergent.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, I like to think that they're out there somewhere still watching what I do, or taking a glimpse every now and then at what, because
Yeah.
what I do now is what I did in high school. And I
Yeah.
feel like that group, I would like to think that they would at least admire the fact that I didn't diverge from that.
And you don't stay in contact with them. You just kind of grew apart.
Yeah, we just kind of, I mean, college does
I'm
that.
sure they're fucking bragging about you to all their friends.
Oh,
This
and
was my best friend.
Oh, I miss very much. I mean,
Yeah.
that era was what showed me how fun filmmaking can be.
Yeah.
And even now to this day, I try and mimic that energy on my sets.
Dude,
Like,
I
of just us
know.
here to have fun.
I know.
If someone, if someone thinks of a funnier version of that joke, oh, let's do that. It's a lot of just dogpiling concepts. And so, yeah,
I love that.
YouTube came out the
Yeah.
year that I learned editing, and it just seemed
What was that?
serendipitous. It was 2005.
Get out of here.
And
Holy
I made my
shit.
YouTube account in 2006 in my high school classroom, or library. I made the
No.
account that I still use today. I made it on campus. And yeah, I
And
remember,
what were you posting?
same stuff, like just weird, kooky videos of me playing different characters. I remember when I made my YouTube channel having this like mission statement in my little 16, 17-year-old brain,
Yeah.
thinking, this is going to be a place where people can check out for a few minutes and just look at comedy that they don't have to see any context to get. So it doesn't matter if they haven't seen any of my
I
videos,
love that.
any video that, and to this day, I imagine when I'm making a video that whoever's watching this has never seen anything of mine. And
Wow.
I think that
Yeah.
makes it feel more inclusive, because it's like, oh yeah, doors open, come on in, anyone's welcome, and as opposed to like, people do comedy where it's serial, or you
Yeah.
have to get this joke to get, a lot of,
Sure.
that's why a lot, like, I don't watch that much Drag Race, but every time I watch an episode, I feel like I'm not getting half the jokes because they reference other, gags or things.
Totally.
And I like being a place where people don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, you have done
I've done
series.
Yeah, I've done series, but I like to think of those as their own like
Yeah.
bubbles. Like, even
You
within
could watch
those,
them. Like I was watching some of them and it felt like I didn't feel
Oh.
like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. Like
Yeah.
they each stood on their own.
And
Yeah.
I like that about television, movies. I like to walk into a franchise if I feel like it without seeing the other ones. I don't want to have to. Oh, the third Terrifier came out. Oh, well, I got to see the other two. Oh,
I just can't believe you had that you were so like switched on at such a young age to know that what you were doing was the future. Because me at your age still had these very like old ideas of what it was to be successful. I knew I wanted to be funny for a living. So it was like, oh, you have to go the traditional route. You've got to like get an agent and like but you were making content and putting it out there at such a young age. Like that's insane
But
and incredible.
back then, that was just the alternative, because the original plan wouldn't work for me.
But why? Why did you ever attempt it, or was it not interesting to you?
I think I definitely attempted it. I auditioned. I tried out for agencies, or I put myself in front of like different agents and I just felt dumb because a lot of them were like, well, he doesn't speak Spanish, so I don't know what the fuck I'm going to put this brownie in. He doesn't, he's not out, so I can't cast him as any of the gays.
Oh, you were closeted?
I was closeted.
Oh,
for a
that's
long
into
time.
the next topic.
And oh yeah, no, I did. Well, yeah, and so it was hard because
Wow.
people saw fat brown gay, and he wants to play a leading role in something. I mean, fat brown gay don't star in shit in
This is
2006.
great.
So I have a lot of what do you
You're like,
call it?
I'm not giving Tom Cruise right now.
I'm not giving Tom Cruise.
I don't understand.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, I know. But now,
What do
it's
you
like-
mean?
Right. I was well, here's the thing. I did fantasize about a world where you didn't have to be Tom Cruise to be the lead in something. And when I was a
Yeah.
kid, you kind of had to be. And so, a lot of the characters I play are characters that I feel like I wouldn't be cast as. And it's me being like, well, fuck you. I can play a
100%.
corporate CEO. I can play
I love that.
a hall monitor.
I could play literal Satan.
Say it. Yeah, I could just, whatever I want. And that's the beauty of it, is like, we don't have to get these characters approved through, Pamela Pumpkin did not have to get anyone to greenlight her other than
Yeah,
you
that's
know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
no one weighed in with their creative feedback. Oh, well, maybe the dance should be like, no, I like just, oh, I think this is funny. I'm going to make it.
I did I took classes at the Groundlings, this like improv sketch comedy theater years ago when I was struggling, and I hated it. I never liked classes. I always felt like they restricted me. I remember I went up and I had this idea to do this Jesus aerobics instructor. And this was like literally I was 20, and like it was funny in my fucking head. I grew up atheist. I'm not against it. It was just funny to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so, and when I went up there, they were like, no, we don't do aerobics instructors. It's overdone. It's cliche. Literally, the instructor told me not, like, basically that this character was not good, to go think of another one. And I remember leaving and crying. And I felt like, well, my ideas suck and they made me like retake the class. And I just remember leaving and be like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, I'm going to do what I think is funny. And it turns out to be like one of my biggest characters is like this I like physical comedy.
Yeah.
And that started from this Jesus aerobics instructor, and that took off, and they started doing it at Jesus camps all over the country, this workout. Like, so the Christians loved it because I was worried I was going to offend them, but they loved it. And I was like, cool. And then it just progressed into something. But anyway.
I think people who can play aerobics instructors, whether it's a funny or serious, I think that's so talented, because you kind of have to be
hilarious.
Well, like physically fit enough to be the aerobic, like that alone.
It's also funny if you're not physically fit. That's also very funny.
Like the way that you dance, I could not dance like that.
Oh, that's so funny.
I really.
Well, now I like really want to do a dance video with you just because you said that.
I love that. I did a dance video with, do you know the fitness marshal on? He's like he's like a real life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I watched that. I am so dancily challenged.
I love it.
That's
Even
why
better.
I see people do it, especially when they're doing it where the baseline is comedy first, but then the dance is killing it. I'm
like, but that's why I'll get people like that I meet off Actors Access, or like literally the like 3-foot Vietnamese girl who doesn't speak English and has spina bifida. I met her on Hollywood Boulevard. I was just like sitting outside of Comedy Central. I had some like meeting, and I had a shoot the next day, and like she was sitting at the cafe, and I needed like interesting looking people for my video. And dude, that's another way we're similar.
I was going to say, you cast similarly to me. I think the actors that you work with in your videos, it's like people I would have picked too. And
Is it Fellini who did that? There's a director who used to do that and just pick the most just aesthetically diverse cast of like, I love the old lady.
Paulette. She's amazing. She does
voice.
all her own stunts.
Like, it's just, I get it. I get why you... where did you find her? Because like I found Eve on the street, and I was like, dude, you're fucking adorable. Will you be in my video tomorrow? And she goes, nobody ever says I'm adorable. And I was like, you are. I was like, come be in it. So she comes in there, she does her little dance, and then literally I keep using her. She's scoring on Instagram. She comes in 6 months later. She's like, I need double the cash. Or she goes, I need double the money. Pay me in cash. She's a full ass diva. She's demanding shit. Like literally, like it was so funny. I loved it.
She just adopts that
bitch.
like,
she was loving it. But anyway, it was just, I don't know.
Before
am I gonna get canceled for that accent?
I don't think so. I'm half Asian. Did you know that?
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Was that offensive?
I don't think so. No. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Half of me thinks it's great.
The shit you could do in 2008.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like I feel like when I see a lot of content houses use the same looking actors.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of YouTube channels, and I'm like, you're all so interchangeable. I do feel like diversity there's a beauty in it. And so I grew up with Power Rangers, Captain Planet, and Mad TV. That's a fucking rainbow of people, different heights, ages. And I just thought there's some beauty to the Addams Family-esque of it all, where no two people look the same in a cluster.
Where do you find these people? Where'd you find her?
Yeah, the last job I did before doing YouTube full time was I did commercials for small businesses. Because no one was, these small businesses, these boomers didn't know someone who could write, direct, edit, do everything. So I would do commercials for them because they didn't.
You'd write, direct, and edit these?
They only had to hire me, and I would give them an MP4 with their final commercial. And if they paid me to, I would go to the network and I put it on TV, and I did everything for them. I was one-stop shop. And so, I was doing a commercial for an apartment building, and they said, we want to showcase that everyone can live here. So I was in charge of casting kids. I had to cast like newlyweds, and I had to cast old people. They want to show like elderly live here too, and and so the role was a sweet old woman. That was the name of the character, sweet old lady.
Sweet old thing.
And we had a plethora of these sweet old cunts walk in, and we were doing their bit. They were saying their lines, and then Paulette walks in, and now don't get me wrong, Paulette might be the sweetest person I know. But what she gives is strong, harsh, abrasive, and very, very, very distinct.
Oh, yeah.
She's not someone who could be an extra in a scene. Your eyes go right to her.
I just like want you to cut to a clip of her really quickly because they just need to like see her and hear her. It's incredible.
Why don't I give you a new identity? You can be a cheap carpet. Tit-sucking pillocks.
She is like a Disney animatronic that escaped the park and just like
that's perfect.
Like just kooky perfect. Looking. Yeah, and so and every line that she delivers is so just like she's a one take one.
So did you cast her in that?
No,
You're like fuck no, I didn't.
Hell no,
that would have been terrifying.
I actually wanted to, but
then, I got her number.
That's exactly what happened. I had it because I had her number already, and I remember. When she left, the owner of the business was sitting behind me.
Yeah.
And she was like, absolutely not. Like saying it as if I agreed with her. Like, I think that's a no. Like, I'm like, okay, sure. No for you.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the parking lot of the gym and a few hours after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to call that bitch. And I give her a call and I say, look, I'm going to be honest with you. You didn't get the role, but there's this other thing that I do on the side. And at that time, it was my side job. Like YouTube was just my side thing. And I said, I would love to cast you as a character in this. I sent her a link to my channel. I'm like, if you're not offended by these videos, if you're willing to like do this, here's a link to it. And we met for coffee the next day and sat there for like 3 hours just talking. And I didn't realize I was talking to someone who would eventually be one of my strongest collaborators over the years.
Like for how long now?
It's been that was in 2015.
So 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change a thing. She's been one of my favorite people to work with. And so
I love that.
Like you said, you see certain people and you realize you can kind of almost see the potential of what you can do with them in a script on camera, like the characters they can play.
Yeah.
Because as a clown, I feel like you can look at other people and be like, oh, this is something like this is a version of themselves I'd love to see. Or this is
totally.
And so when I saw her, I'm like, all the light bulbs in my head started going off. I'm like, I could think of 50 characters you could play that would be amazing. So
I love that you have this. What's her name again?
Paulette.
And she's how old is she?
Gosh, I gotta be in her 70s now.
Yeah, I've got the 80-year-old Jewish man, Alan, who I put in my videos. Alan, this is Alan. And now he's like, everywhere I go, people stop me and say, this is Alan. Like, it's incredible. I'm like, that's so awesome. And he's just amazing. But again, it was like, I was just looking for people. I met him on like Actors Access, must have been over a decade ago, It's like, and he was like the first AD on all these big films in the 70s. And then when he turned around 70, he was like, I want to be an actor now. He just decided when he was 70 that he wanted to be an actor. And I was like, fucking awesome. Like, let's do this.
That's what I mean, though. There are people who decide like, I want to do this now at whatever age in life. Like Paulette, and she still does this. But when I met her, she was delivering like speeches on quantum physics and
really?
Yeah, she's like an actual genius.
Actually super.
Yeah,
I'm super into that.
Yeah.
Do you believe in all that?
I think it's so fascinating, but I barely believe in Montana. Anything I haven't seen for myself, I'm like, sure, maybe I don't know.
But in a sense, I feel like you have manifested your reality in a way. Like you had a vision, you saw it in your head and you make it happen. You're manifesting all the time.
It's funny you say that because last night I was talking to my assistant. We were talking about just being thankful and being grateful for everything we have here in LA.
Yeah.
And I realized, because my assistant, he's 23 years old. I looked at him, I was like, when I was 23, I was very clear with what I wanted in my head. And looking back now, it was the first time I realized that I have everything I ever wanted when I was 23.
How wild.
And yet what's weird is like, it still doesn't feel like, oh, I've made it. It doesn't feel like I have everything.
Yeah.
But of the things that now, you get older, you realize more things in this universe that you might want. But at 23, like everything I have now I would have jumped off a bridge.
Totally.
Like I
100%.
don't need that. There's nowhere else to go.
You felt on some level that you deserved it. And
Right.
what stops people from getting it is they have this deep-rooted feeling that they don't.
It's what you were describing as like, well, I'm funnier than her. She might be hotter, but I'm funnier.
Yeah.
I had that thought about everyone. I'm like, sure, I'd fuck them, but I wouldn't laugh at their jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd laugh at mine.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it felt like. I felt like I did deserve it because I knew this might not be great, but this is
I disagree. I think you're beautiful.
Likewise,
like genuinely beautiful.
That's what I mean. We could have stopped at just because a lot of people, and that's why I don't like a lot of Instagrams where you look at them, they don't say what they do. They just, I'm here.
Oh yeah.
And then just, you stopped at being pretty. You stopped there. That was good enough for you.
Well, dude, the times have changed because I feel like when we started, you really had the hacks were kind of like they come and they go, and you can just tell the people who are doing it for the fame or for the money. They think, oh, I'm going to be famous and have money and it's going to solve my problems. And I feel like you can sniff those people. It's obvious. And then there's people who it's like, no, I have this thing that I'm good at and I got to get it out there. And this is the way to get it out there. And you can see, and those people never stop. Like you're not stopping, dude.
That's what I call us
or
geysers.
maybe you take breaks, but you come back, you know?
Yeah, people like us we're like hot springs because Hollywood will always be looking for someone who has an idea. But the thing that they'll never be able to do is have one themselves. And I've learned this. I've learned that like, because I've had ideas that I spent years making, and then a company, Turner Media, would take would take it and then like shelve it somewhere and say like, oh, we decide not to make this, but we own the rights to it, but we're going to keep it. But then I thought, well, fuck it. I'll just make something else because we're hot springs. We create. We are a source, right? So Hollywood will, and they are thirsty for people like who could think of the next best whatever the fuck movie, show, porn, whatever it is. We want the next thing, and they could take your idea, they could keep it, throw it away, but you'll always. So, and I like
you have an abundance mindset. There's more.
There's more. I could just come up with something else.
True.
Some of the things that did so well, some of the videos that did amazingly for you or for me was just a thought at one point that we came up with. And so who's to say someone took that video and scrapped it and it will never see the light of day again, whatever.
So you've had that happen where you've worked with a company, they pay you to make a pilot, you make this pilot that they probably spent a shit ton of money on, and then they say, no, that's not happening. We can't get advertisers for this or whatever.
And that happens all the time.
And they shelve it. So that's happened to you more than once?
I had 2 seasons of a show called Magic Funhouse from 2016, 2017. I wrote the script.
Didn't.
I did. I stayed up the night before the pilot at the studio on my hands and fucking knees with a hot glue gun and scissors. And now that costume's locked in some warehouse and I can't play that character. But 2 seasons of that show, 2 seasons. And then it was on full screen went under. The rights to the show just ended up with Turner. And now it's just 2 years of my life are gone. And you can't even find the show. Luckily people have pirated it and re-uploaded it onto YouTube, and I'll promote that. I'll be like, go watch it on YouTube.
No way, but you can't put it on your channel?
No.
Because they own it.
Can't even play the character from that show.
You cannot play the character.
They own the rights to all of.
This was the children's presenter?
Yeah. And it was so that does suck, but like I said,
I'm like pissed at was it agent or manager that negotiated that deal? So you negotiated it.
I negotiated, and that's why I fucked myself.
I know.
Up my ass.
It's like we didn't know.
We didn't know.
Wait a minute, they own the IP. Hold on, I didn't know. What's IP again?
Right. No, actually, the lawyer I had at the time worked for the production company. He was their lawyer, so it was like, of course they're gonna. So it was.
So he's like, this is a great deal.
But yeah, just to go back to your point, like we are a source of like they can take that idea and keep it because I can come up with like 10 others.
I love that.
Well, same. That's what people like us.
It's like you mourn it for a minute and then you're like, but also fuck you. Here's my next thing.
Yeah.
What's your next thing?
Right now, I'm doing sketch comedies this year. This is the first year in over a decade that I'm not doing a series. I'm just wanting to do sketches.
I love that.
And the sketches will connect and there'll be overarching stories that they'll tell.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not expecting anyone to see anything before or after that. If this is the only thing they see, that I want a year of just standalone sketches that are fun to just distribute, because we are back in the Vine era now. We're back in the short form era. And it just feels like a couple years ago we were told to make longer stuff because we put more ad breaks in it. But nope, now it's all. And how funny that TikTok almost went out the door, because then all these other platforms would have been a shell mimicking TikTok. And then so I think right now the shorter the better with content. Just in terms of what algorithms across all the platforms like. But I don't know. We might, as a filmmaker, I miss the horizontal, because films are horizontal because our eyes are horizontal, because you walk into a room, we go like this. At movies, you're sitting in a theater. There's a reason the screen is like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
This is not a way to tell a story, to establish a scene,
Wow.
but it is a good way to be a clown. So I will say, as a filmmaker, I miss this, but as a clown, I love this.
Can you not shoot like this for the extended versions and then clip vertical?
You can,
but it's hard.
It just feels clipped to me.
Yeah, no.
Because I've been fucking around with only shooting verticals or only shooting horizontals, and the stuff that's only vertical, you can really play with that frame.
Totally.
You can always kind of tell if it's been cropped from a bigger version, but I've learned to love both. I think that the verticals are a great way to showcase a character, because you're seeing their full body. You're seeing, you're capturing that body language in a way that, like, with horizontal, you lose feet a lot of the time, or so there's pros and cons to both. I remember when I first started taking film classes in high school, I remember thinking, well, why aren't screens triangle or like oval, or why aren't they a different?
Yeah.
And I'm realizing now, oh, that's why they're not, because this is kind of limiting with how you can tell a story.
Wow.
But
but you're just adapting to what is, and then it's gonna, like, it's interesting because you've been in it for so long. Do you find that there's just waves and you have to ride the waves, and sometimes you feel like incredible ideas and people are connecting and it's good, and then sometimes do you feel low and dry and like I've lost it, or I'm not funny, or oh God, my career's over, or nobody loves me anymore? Not that I've ever felt that.
I was just gonna say yes, and I know you have too, by how you worded that. And I got to tell you, every person that remotely does something similar to what we do has said the same thing.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of them fall off because the burnout eventually gets too hard one day, and they just say, oh, maybe try something else. And
Sure.
I think it's really cool that you've always known that you wanted to make people laugh, and that at this point in your life are finding new ways to do that while staying true to your original mission statement. And same for me too. I mean, the landscape is always going to change, but I know that I've been doing this long enough to know that I want to continue this in whatever form the landscape offers.
Like, I can see you doing this when you're 80.
Well, likewise.
Same. Yeah, I always say, like, I'm actually just going to get funnier because I'm going to be in diapers. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be hilarious.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I feel sorry for Wes to take care of us. So actually, I don't, because they're going to be laughing.
They're going to be having so much fun.
I will say, going back to
wiping
dementia,
our asses.
I do love that humor doesn't. It's like one of the last things to leave us. I see people riddled with dementia who are still funny.
Oh, wow. Yes.
And I think as long as we stay true to being funny all the time, it'll just come out when we're just fucking crazy one day.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really, when I go to a doctor's office, or if I'm getting my hair cut, I know that I can like make them laugh at least, you know, and it lightens the mood. And I feel like when things do get to that era where we are old and people are having to inject us with shit and take turds out of our ass, well, at least they'll be because some people are going to be like, oh, miserable while they're having that done to them. And
I feel like you understand how important comedy is. And like, I always joke that I take comedy so seriously. I take it so seriously. It's why I'll lose sleep at night, because it needs to be a certain way. Because if it's not this way, it's not going to get the laugh. And at the end of the day, you just want to make people, like you said, give them that hit of dopamine. Like, let them chill for a minute, let them laugh, and let out that stress through your gift. And that is actually important.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a world where you're not laughing. And so to help facilitate in that is really important. And it's why, like, I think people still, for me, they're like, dude, you're just a clown for a living, which, yeah, that's true. But they think it's just fun and games. And it's like, no, it's actually really serious sometimes, like getting it to the place you want it.
No, it is serious.
It is.
And you can legitimately stress over that. I do all the time, every week. Because comedy,
exactly.
It's about timing, and you can fuck up timing. You can fuck up there's a million ways to make something less funny than it could have been when you thought of it. I think comedy is very serious.
It is in a way. The craft of it is.
The craft of it, yes.
It can be. And then sometimes it is just fun, and you're just like, no stress, and it's easy and it's fun. And
I think it's stressful when you're someone who has to produce it yourself, for sure. It is much less stressful showing up to a set and just being, wonkadoo. But
oh my God,
when you're producing it and you're like in charge
writing it and directing it,
it is stressful. But that means you care about it. And comedy is more than just making people laugh. It is is like an art form, like ballet or music.
Absolutely.
Like, it is something that it should be taken less seriously because of its intention.
No, I watch musicians and they agonize over this certain sound. And
So
I
why
go,
can't
bitch,
we?
nobody's noticing that sound because I don't get it because I'm not a musician. But it's the same shit. We agonize over that little thing, right?
I think people don't realize that about comedians. Is like how much headache goes into making them laugh sometimes. Like they don't.
Sure.
I have writer's block all the time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's the most stressful thing.
Oh my God.
I will rent a set to shoot in and get the actors, everything. And then next thing you know, it's the day before. And I'm like, fuck, everyone's going to show up to set tomorrow and not know what I'm.
And I don't have one thing.
And that happens all the time.
It's all on you. And they go, what do we do, Brandon? Where do we go? Where do you want me?
Yeah.
And you just have to make it happen.
So I'm sure you probably.
Oh yeah, all the time. And I'm like, oh, damn, if I don't get my shit together. But, we're ADHD, so we thrive on that last minute, which is cool.
And I've never, I've always pulled it together. It's like, I not only do I thrive in that last minute, but I know that I get shit done in that last minute.
And you've been doing it long enough that I assume you trust your voice. Like, no, if I think it's good, or it's going to translate, or it's going to get a laugh, or whatever, or however you make people want to feel, because I notice some of your stuff, you're not laughing every second. It's like, it's a fucking experience. It's trippy. It's scary. It's invokes a lot of emotions.
And it's the same making it. Like I feel a lot of things, every time I fall in love with a project, it's the same pattern every time. I fall in love with the idea enough to make it.
Yeah.
And then I make it. And then I walk away from that set thinking, oh, it wasn't as good as my idea. And then it really has to take me a lot of courage to go back and look at the footage.
Yep.
And then that's when you fall in love with it the second time. You fell in love with the idea. And then maybe you watch the footage and you're still not in love with it. But you start clipping them together.
Yeah.
And you start, and then you feel that second burst of love.
Yes.
And now you're just refining something you're falling in love with.
Yes.
And that's like the journey for everything I've ever made.
Wow.
I love the concept, fall out of love when I see the execution, and then I love when I'm piecing it together, and then I'm like, yes, release it.
Yes.
I think maybe 2 or 3 times in my whole life have I never come back up from that, and I ended up shelving it. But it's a beautiful process to fall in love with something that you've made. Because I don't know, it's like building like a ship that's going to go out to sea, and you're realizing this will float, and this is.
I love that. Did your parents believe in you? Did they support your?
Not at first.
Okay.
Yeah, they did kind of. My dad was more supportive, definitely growing up. I think my mom was really scared that I was going to be some broke artist.
Sure. So she was concerned. Did she want you to go to college or like?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I did go to college just to appease my parents, really.
What did you study?
Broadcast.
Oh, okay.
And I'm glad I did. I learned a lot. I mean, I took improv classes. I was on the speech and debate team. I learned.
Same.
Were you really?
HI, OC, DDA, HDA.
Oh my! Wait, did you ever do forensics at all? Any of the speeches?
I never did that.
See, that's the majority of what I did.
You did that? I'm shocked you weren't doing original comedy.
I know. Well, it's so limiting. Forensics is there's so many rules.
Interesting.
You have to hold your book like this, and then you have to open it this way, and you're just critiqued on so many things. Pros, yeah.
I can't.
And you're just critiqued on so many things other than like the delivery. You're critiqued on like so many technical fucking things. And I remember thinking, if I ever become famous, I will talk all the shit I can about this fucking farce. But
so your mom was worried. So she was what?
Yeah, she wanted me to have, my mom is a very, very practical woman.
Okay.
Very practical. She's like, get a decent job, probably in an office, or actually she didn't care where. She just like consistent money, and just make sure. She didn't want me to be rich, but I think she wanted me to have a plan B. And I tried telling her growing up, like, Mom, if I put any effort I put into my plan B will only subtract from my plan A. And
dude, I can't believe you say that, because I always tell people, they're like, what's your tip? And I'm like, don't have a plan B. I was like, I never had a plan B. There was no plan B. So I had to make plan A work.
Also, life is so short.
There is no plan B.
There's no plan
it's
B.
This or die.
Yeah, seriously. Or death. Death is my plan B.
And then you have to make it or you're fucking dead.
I know. Well, seriously, I would rather, and I'm old enough now to understand that I would rather die broke and happy. Than to have made it and not be happy. Well, I don't know. I fully believe in people chasing their dreams. I can't imagine chasing a dream and then chasing a plan B. Like that seems so taxing.
Totally. Like just be broke and keep doing what you're going to do.
And also I thrive on that tunnel vision of like, I have a goal, I'm going to achieve this goal. Like I thrive on that. I can't imagine if there was another tunnel off to the side of it, but also you got to go down here too.
You could do that.
It's just, and I tell that to everyone. I'm like, you're going to live once. Don't obviously it's tricky to keep a roof over your head and chase your, especially in LA, because it's so expensive. But I moved to this town with $400 in my pocket. I spent everything I had on my studio apartment, which I didn't know if I'd be able to pay for the next month.
Yeah.
And I just really threw myself into the deep. That's how I learned swimming. My dad just threw me off a boat.
No way, really?
Yeah. And there's like a level of like, well, I'm not going to let myself drown. I'm not going to let myself like, starve to death or not achieve. I'm going to give it my all, because I know that it obviously, your true failure is just not trying at all, and so I've never tried something and then failed and then felt like I failed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I've always been like, well, fuck that thing, or but it's never been like, oh, well, what would have happened if I just gave it my shot?
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. When did you come out of the closet?
Well, when I moved, I was 23 when I moved to LA. And so I came out to my friends before then, but I figured I'm not going to come out to my family until I'm off their insurance, off their phone plan, out of their house. And it was kind of tragic because the whole time they would have accepted me.
Whoa.
And it's really sad because I never came out to my family. They had to find out, like all my fans.
They just found out on a YouTube video?
I didn't even have a coming out video. I just stopped denying it. I never had a coming out moment.
Did they know? Do you feel like your parents knew?
I think they did.
And why did you not feel...
I don't know if it's the landscape at the time or if it was my parents themselves.
Were they religious or?
Yeah, I was raised devout Catholic.
Devout Catholic. Well, there you go. You were like essentially told you were going to hell.
Yeah. Yeah. If I were to come out. Yeah. And that shit
my best friend grew up a block away from me in Downers Grove, Illinois. Gay, older brother gay, younger sister they, younger sibling they, sorry. Wow. 3 out of 4. And they were Catholic. And after the third, his mom and dad are like, what are we doing here? Like, no. Yeah. This church does not even accept our children.
Right. Religion's a choice, but being a queer is not. You know what I mean? So it's like, that was really tough. Most of my family did accept me. I don't think my family is that homophobic. I don't think they just kind of were part of the 90s where it's like, he's talking about, you know what that means when they do this. You know what that means. It's like, oh, you better watch out. I got some bad news if you do this. But it was just that kind of humor you grew up with. You kind of just generally assume that,
but did you feel shame around it?
Yeah. People would say like, or if people would say like, I couldn't tell you were gay. You sound straight. Wow. Like it's a compliment. Like that's like, totally. Oh, thank you. So it's just unspoken that like being gay was something to be hidden in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm, obviously before that even more so, but growing up, I knew for certain that gay was only safe in AOL chat rooms, which thank God that came out when I was 12. AOL chat rooms. Oh my God. That's
you were definitely talking to a 35-year-old man.
You know what though? I think I was looking back on it. There was because I gave my phone number out to some guy, and I remember on the phone thinking, wow, he says he's, I forget. I must have been, at the time I must have been like 13. Yeah. And so this guy was like saying he was around that age, but I remember on the phone thinking, you sound like old man.
He sound like old man.
Yeah. And I think back on that and I'm like, Trent wasn't Trent. Trent was fucking Gerald.
Trent was old man.
Trent was old man Gerald.
Trent was old man Gerald.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Dude, I used to have guys be like, send me a pic. And my friends and I, again, we were 12, 13 years old. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to send him a pic with like a funny face. It's going to be hilarious. And I would just like send these old men, but I didn't know they were old men, but they definitely were old men. But they were pictures just like of me like this.
Like,
and then I would send it and they would be like, damn, send more. Because even like that's how disgusting they were. They even thought that was hot, but I don't know.
How many more traumas are we going to realize we share?
Oh, like, I know. Absolutely.
This is too many similar stories.
But I wonder if that probably influenced your dark, comedic approach, having that. It also shame and like repression in a sense as a kid.
When I started to come to terms with my sexuality and, in high school, college, I started becoming more of a rebel. I grew my hair out. I was in a rock band.
Person, yeah.
And I kind of, you were like that too?
Absolutely. They called me Cuffs because I kept getting arrested. But this was,
Cuffs
it
cleary.
Literally, it was for dumb shit like underage drinking or possession of marijuana or curfew. But I was just getting into trouble, and I was tall, so I was the one.
Oh, you tall kid?
Bitch, yes. And that's why I got arrested. I'm telling you, because my friends, they always pick me.
Oh.
It was a few times, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, troublemaker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hardcore rebellious.
My friends
kid.
lit a tree on fire in a park, and they all got away, and I was the only one that got caught.
Yeah, we're the same.
I got thrown over the hood of a car, and actually it was kind of hot.
That is hot.
Yeah. But damn, that's crazy. I had no idea that. I mean, that makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Why we're both so.
And we're not dead, though.
We're not dead.
We've done pretty
surprisingly.
well. Yeah. And then wait, last thing, because we can talk for literally 3 hours and you have to come back. But I'm just interested in your relationships.
I've had all the kinds of relationships you could think of. I've had the very traditional, like, you know, we're going to get married. We're going to do, you know, and then I've had the ones.
And when was that?
That was when I was 25. What year? It was right before I took off on the internet.
Okay.
It was.
How long was that?
That was about almost 2 years.
And then what?
2 years. That was the longest relationship I've had.
Okay.
Then after that, I've just been with. I dated an actor. I don't know if I could do that again. Yeah, big mistake. Big mistake.
Why is that such a turnoff?
I found out he had me help him with an audition, and which I'm fine. Obviously, if you're an actor, you're gonna have scenes where you kiss people and whatnot. But I'm like, he's like, can you help me with this audition? And I'm realizing, and then he gets penetrated and this and humping and thrusting and nudity will be.
It was a full porn.
It was crazy. And so I just remember like, oh well, this is. It basically was a porn.
Yeah.
Because Anyway, and he was like, if you don't help me finish this audition, then you're not supported. I'm like, I had no idea this was happening in the scene.
Oh my God.
But I don't know. Yeah, I've dated an actor. I dated someone who works in HR. You believe that? That's when I almost married and worked in HR.
Really?
Yeah.
Something about a normal ass guy.
You know, he told me to right before the night we broke up. He was like, oh, I'm sure I'll see you on a billboard one day. That year, once I got famous, I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to get on a billboard just to show. And then I think a year later, I got that Magic Funhouse show, and on Highland and fucking Hollywood, there was a big, and it was over David Dobrik's apartment. 4 stories of my face. And I took that photo and I sent it to him. So anyway, that was after that.
And you sent it? Did it feel so good?
No, it felt like it felt.
No, it really didn't.
Yeah, he left me on red, and then it was like for years we didn't talk. I was like, he probably just thinks I'm some petty like piece of shit or I don't know.
Which you are.
I like being petty.
Yeah,
I think petty
it's
people
fun
are remembered.
Sometimes.
Well, they're just. I think if you're petty in life, you're remembered with more pizzazz.
You know,
someone who just did what they were told their whole life. Like, who's gonna say shit about them at
someone
their funeral?
Who took the high road. Come on, that's boring.
No, I take the low road high.
That's right. Oh my God, incredible. Sometimes you got to be petty. Just sometimes. Spice it up a little.
Exactly.
You know, like with hate, do you ever respond to the hate comments?
Not really. I don't respond to any hate comments if it's not womp womp.
I was so petty. Someone wrote a hate comment and they misspelled boobs, B-O-I-B-S. They spelled it boibs. They were telling me to put my boibs away. Put your boibs away. You have no self-respect. I was breastfeeding my son. And I think I posted a story saying, both eating lunch. I was eating a salad. He was eating my tit. It was just a funny moment. And I said, both eating lunch, big deal. This woman responds, you're disgusting. You have no self-respect. Put your boibs away. Your son is too old for your boibs. Your boibs are for your husband. Meanwhile, he's like 5 months. So no, he's not. It's not like I'm breastfeeding a fucking 7-year-old. And
that happens, by the way.
And it does happen. And we should do a sketch on that.
She tastes great milk.
Anyway, so she kept spelling boobs, B-O-I-B-S, literally 10 times in a row. And so I eventually started a clothing brand called Boibs. And it was just
Boibs.
Like, I like posted the DM, it like went viral. All these moms talking about like normalized breastfeeding. And then I was like thinking of a name for my clothing brand. And my ex was like, what about boibs? And I was like, that's kind of hysterical. It's like goop. It's like, it's not a real word, but like it's got a ring to it and there's a story behind it. But I'm saying that's how petty I am, that like I named a clothing brand around a hater. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to monetize you, bitch. You're going to roast me. You're going to troll me. I'm going to monetize your ass. Monetize. That's what Ricky Gervais says. Monetize the haters. Every time he gets a hate comment on Twitter, he's like, thank you. You just gave me material. I'm going to use this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You just made me money, bitch.
Oh, hell yeah. A lot of the characters I play are people that gave me a hard time growing up.
I love that.
Cha-ching.
I love that. Just sometimes, right? And then we can take the high road and then we can.
But no, I have no intention of being known for taking the high road in life. I want to be known for lots of things. That's not one of them.
So, okay. So next for you is, well, you've sworn off love or you're just not looking for it actively.
I just feel like unless there's someone who wants to die in a car crash with me,
Right.
I don't think I'm going to find
That's the prerequisite is, how do you say that?
prerequisite.
Prerequisite? Prerequisite?
No, I can't say. Yeah.
It's prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Yeah.
Prerequisite.
And I have one. I forgot what we were just talking about.
Prerequisites.
Prerequisite. Yes.
Yeah.
I have a few prerequisites of I need to get them looked at.
What is the
I honestly forget where we were going with this.
like love? Like, are you looking for love? Do you believe in love? Do you want a life partner? Do you want kids? Like what? Or what?
I honestly,
fuck?
I'm in
What's
this.
wrong with you?
I'm in a phase right now.
What is wrong
where
with you?
my career?
Okay.
It's a piece of shit that I got stuck in. No, I'm obsessed with my career right now, which I'm trying to ride that horse.
Dude, I know. Because again, the waves, and you're not always gonna. So it's like fucking ride that shit.
Yeah.
And then know it's gonna come back too.
Yeah, exactly. And love is always. There's so many fucking people on this planet. I mean, and they all suck.
Were you on
love.
the dating apps?
I was on the dating apps, and then I was on the sexting apps. And I went back to dating and back to sexting.
What
and
are the
started using
sexting
the dating
apps?
for the sex and the dating for the sex apps. Yeah. What is a grinder? You
Oh,
know,
right.
Sniffies, I think.
Sniffies?
Yeah.
What's sniffies?
Sniffies, everyone's horny. And
Okay.
and it's like actually I haven't used Sniffies. It's just like the one that the more, I guess, elite, I think it's where elite gays go to. Grinders like
okay. It's like the gay
yeah.
What is it?
Gay
what's the celebrity one?
No. Raya.
Raya. Gay Raya.
Yeah, I'm not famous enough to fuck on Raya yet, but actually I haven't tried.
Okay.
I'm very curious to know what that app is like. But yeah, I thought when you're famous, you're just not allowed to be on dating apps anymore.
But you are sometimes on and off.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I just, I don't know. I think meeting people in person is a very lost, like, I just met a guy on New Year's that, okay, so maybe I'm loosely talking to someone right now, loosely, but met on New Year's 30 seconds before that fucking ball dropped. And he was like, no, actually, I went up to him. I was like, I think you're the most attractive person in this whole room. And I wasn't lying. I was like, this person in the room.
Yeah.
I got to keep it, modest. I'm not saying the whole most attractive person, just in this room.
That's so funny.
It was a room full of uggos.
Yeah.
But no, and then he just kissed me at midnight, and then we just been talking.
Wow,
So it's like I
love
like
that.
in
Yeah.
person, and he had no clue who I was.
That's cool too.
Do you feel the same? Like if someone,
I met a guy at a coffee shop, and he told me my sweater. I was like, thanks. And then he asked me to go to dinner. And I remember when I gave him my name, I just wrote Laura C because I didn't want him to look me up because literally it's not just that I have insane comedy online. It's my entire life is out there.
Right.
You can see me give fucking birth. I didn't need him to see my twat before the first
doing
date.
the twat yawn.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I'm going to be slick and write Laura C. And I told him I made comedy. He just typed in comedian Laura C. And I fucking came right up. So I regret putting my last.
The C is
why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why didn't I just say Laura?
There can't be that many Laura C's
That's
in this
what I'm
world.
saying.
Certainly
there
doing
wasn't.
comedy
There just
births.
wasn't.
It's just
But it didn't scare him away. Whatever.
But that's the important thing is that he was into you before he even knew you were Cleary.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's really, I think a lot of people who aren't in the spotlight don't realize. I never was proud of the people I would attract before I was famous because I wasn't thinking about that. And now I'm like, if someone is attracted to me, I'm like, well, I hope it's because of me and not because they had this idea of me before they met me.
Sure.
Yeah. And so I do admire when someone, they like you said, your sweater, your smile, your hair, anything that your personality.
Yeah, your personality.
That means, and then yes, I do want them eventually to see my work because my work is a part of who I am.
And also, if they hate your work, it's kind of indicative of, did you guys have the same sense of humor? Which, have you ever dated someone who's not funny?
Yes.
it's a fucking deal breaker.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not talking,
really
you don't
is.
have to be a comedian, but if you don't
Right.
have a sense of humor or you think you do, but you're not funny at all, it's for me, absolute deal breaker.
Comedy is a form of a language. It's a form of
Yeah.
communication. And like when you
It's how you
drop,
see the world.
yeah, and even if
Yeah.
I'm in a bad mood, I'm still sarcastic.
Yeah.
You know, like I need
Yeah.
someone there. Whoever's in my presence when I'm in that sarcastic bad mood
Yeah.
better fucking be appreciating the wit I'm putting into
That's
it.
right. If you're not willing to crack jokes with me privately at a funeral, we're not going to work.
Oh,
We're not going to
100%.
work.
Oh, you can't joke. Don't. That's not funny. You know, yeah, I had a lot of my family are like that too. Don't joke about that. That's not fun. I'm like, that makes it even
No,
funnier.
it makes it even funnier.
Yeah, right.
It absolutely makes it funnier.
Yeah, whoever I'm with needs to be absorbing the cleverness of what, even if it's even if it's negative. Like
Yeah.
if a driver pisses me off, I'm a poet. And if it's just radio silence in my passenger
Yeah.
seat, I'm gonna push him out the car.
I'm gonna push him out the motherfucking car.
Yeah.
So, okay. So sketch comedy is your next wave. That's what you're doing. It's just, and it's whatever comes to you. And do you shoot weekly? Is it like every this day we go and you make it happen?
If I'm not writing, shooting, or editing, I feel like I'm wasting that day.
Okay.
And so
how many days a week are you actually filming at your studio?
Usually it's two days.
2 days a week. And is it normally like the same day? And you
No, it's just whenever, because
okay.
You can't
Whenever
really
it
schedule
strikes.
comedy like that.
Interesting.
You really can't. It's whenever like I'm. No,
Well, that's not true. I used to do every Thursday. It was like, that was my day. And so I just had to prep everything that I had to do for my Thursday. And then I would film whatever like through the day. And then I would do random stuff during the week. But I think you can.
I see. I admire that. I
You know what I
cannot.
mean?
I've tried doing the structured thing. Like, yes, I have been able to do it, but I always feel like I'm making something that I'm not so proud of. I'm like,
I've
well, I
done
had
that.
to do it by Friday, so there it is. But
Here you go.
Yeah, you know, it's hit or miss. Like it all depends on what mood I'm in that week.
I love that.
And more often than not, like comedy is the only thing that can get me out of a bad mood. So
Same, yeah.
like it's our therapy. Making something helps me forget about what I'm going through in life. But it also, like, if I'm having a good week, it helps me celebrate like what I'm going through. Like I like making videos when I'm in a good mood and a bad mood. So I can't see myself not shooting.
If something you make that you love, or maybe you make something and you're not so sure of it and you post it and people fucking hate it, or it kind of just flops, whatever. It just doesn't do what you thought it would do. How are you able to?
Well, I'll start with making a video telling my audience to go fuck themselves and get better taste. And I show them the budget of what I spent on the video.
I love that.
No, that shit happens all the time. You can't be mad at. I mean,
yeah,
you can't let. Here's the thing,
but
like
you don't let it affect your.
No, because every show that I've been a fan of, has had dud episodes.
Absolutely,
it just comes with it. Not everything's going to be consistently good.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I used to do as a creator, and I can guarantee every content creator has done this. You have a video that pops off. You try mimicking that again and again. And then any video that doesn't live up to that will just not. Sure. And I just learned, like, you cannot compare videos with each other. A video can pop off for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
I just did a video where I'm a Karen on an airplane, and that popped off.
Oh, I loved that. That was genius.
But like
that was based off.
Just like we had an airplane set, and I had my Karen costume.
There was a real lady who did something similar, and I was like, "This is fucking genius!" Like, because it happens.
It happens, and I gave my phone to the.
I don't feel safe. I love how much you smack. I love how much you punch. I love it. I love it.
I think someone assaulting everyone in the room and no one fighting back is funny.
It's like, so funny. Especially as I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe.
Because you know what's funny is a huge amount of people saw that. It was recommended to a bunch of a large Republican demographic who thought it was real. And they were all these transphobic comments were being like, "That's a guy and this is staged.
This is why trans people should."
So then I'm like, I'm glad this is getting a lot of views, but I'm also like fueling a lot of these people's hate and like giving them justified reason to hate. So I had to like leave a comment saying like, "Guys, I'm an act. I'm a comedian.
Absolute dumb fuck.
Yeah.
I'm an actor.
How do
you fucking idiot.
I can't decipher that." And
I can't.
And they're like, "Yeah, well, yeah." It's like, first of all, like I don't know, like the slapping. For you to watch me slapping everyone and think that this was real.
Bitch, those were sound effects.
Those were sound
They weren't
effects.
even great ones.
Right.
How didn't you know that? The slap was so crisp. How did they not know?
I wish I could assault people that cleanly.
Right?
I would be hitting a lot more people. But no,
How'd you get that audio? Like,
the-
how dumb?
I know. They're not the brightest, but I'm happy. So like that video popped off for
Yeah.
that reason.
Yeah.
You can never mimic that. Like I can't unless I go back on another plane, do so. Like I just
But dare I say you can take her to Target and take her or wherever. Like she is so funny in different locations.
I love characters that don't come with their own location. So like
Yes.
like Pee-wee Herman or Mr. Bean, like those can just you bring them to like cover a movie premiere or bring them to, they don't need to. A lot of my characters, some of them like a hall monitor, or I play a lot of people who come with a setting that they have to be in.
I love
My
that.
favorite are the ones that can just be dropped in any setting and you just
I love it. I did a character named Karen Karenson who was whatever. And like I would be so happy to change her name because like how Karen Karenson, like that's good, Laura. But it was essentially the same sort of
Yeah.
thing. But I think like us being Karens out in the real world would be iconic.
I think Karen characters, every comedian should have one because they're like the aristocrats joke. Like every comedian has like their own version of it. I think Karen is a great vessel of reflecting privileged suburbia. And
But can we go out as Karens together?
I would love that.
Yeah.
How much longer is this gonna take?
Excuse me.
I've been waiting for 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes? I'm so sorry. I'm dealing with something. You can wait your turn.
I have to shit.
Can I talk to your manager, please?
You gotta aim higher,
I
dumbass.
know.
I want to talk to your district manager.
All right, get me the fucking vice president of operations.
You give me the seat, chief
Operating
financial
officer.
officer of
The
finance.
CFO. You need to leave right now. Make me.
Fuck you.
Make me. How about maybe you go? I don't want that stupid organ.
I'm gonna fuck your manager.
You're not gonna give me my money back. Where's your fucking safe? Stop.
I don't feel safe. I can see your toe, bitch.
Good. Suck my clit.
I don't know that word.
You're not gonna let me return my orchid. I'm gonna take this guy.
You know what? I'm gonna take this. This is what happens when you're ugly.
Call the cops.
Let's go terrorize that bitch at the Jamba.
Hey, I'm in, bitch.
Let's go.
Whore.
Oh my God. Okay, where can people follow you?
Just any search hole that you
Just
find.
just type his fucking name.
Just Brandon Rogers. And if you put a D, I'll find you. And
Yeah.
actually, you won't be allowed to watch my videos if you type it with a D. It just
But you gotta go binge them because they're just next level. There's no one like you and you're a genius, truly.
well, likewise.
And
with
I
you.
never say that.
I like that. I'm
mean,
like
you just are.
you're
You're just promoting me.
to your own people.
Just promote me.
Yeah. Hey guys, Laura.
Tell them to follow me.
You should follow Laura and should
Thank
check out
you.
her podcast. It isn't. I hear it's all right.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And let's like film. Let's do some sketches together.
love that.
I would love that.
I didn't know you live so close. Like you're just right up the road.
Let's do it. I'm over the hill. I
Over the
mean,
hill.
we're in the same.
I'm around the
town.
bend.
You're around the bend.
Yeah.
All right, get the fuck out.
All right.
Our store is fully open for in-store shopping. For store hours, press 1. For directions to the stores, press 2. To check in for contactless curbside pickup or to speak with a teammate, press 0. For inquiries about in-store merchandise availability, please, if you are checking in for curbside pickup, please press 2. To speak with a teammate, please press 0.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Thank you for calling Escorted. How can we help you?
Hey, I was wondering if I could speak with your manager for a minute.
I'm a manager. How can I help?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, no, I just had a little issue recently. I came into Dick's Sporting Goods. I was getting my son some baseball bats. He's killing it on his team. And so it's
Amazing.
Oh yeah, he's
Not the
really
experience. Amazing that he's killing it.
yeah. No, I know. He's the best one by far in the team. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay,
I
copy
know
that.
because their parents are soft, but that's neither here
Well,
nor there.
Neither here nor there. Tell me what happened.
I had a little problem because I came in to buy the baseball bats and some gear for my son, and I was escorted out of the establishment.
I'm sorry, you were what?
I was escorted out of your establishment.
When did this
Get a pen. Yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna need one.
I'm getting a pen. Hold on.
You're
for
gonna
it.
need one. Make sure
Okay.
there's a lot of ink in
I'm
there.
gonna need one. Okay, I got it. So this was last Tuesday. Give
It
me
was
approximately what time?
it was last Tuesday. It was around 10:15 in the morning. I went in there to
10:15
get my
a.m., okay.
yep, to get my son some baseball
Okay.
bats and some gear. And I was escorted out simply because I had an emotional support animal with me. And I don't know why that wasn't allowed, even though it's
Wait a minute. We have animals in here all the time.
well, I was told I had to leave.
Okay.
I was told I had to leave
Because
because
an
no
emotional.
support possum.
Okay. And who? Did you get any names for me by chance?
I believe there was a Toby there. Was there? Was it?
Oh, what there?
I'm not quite
Tony?
sure. He looked like a Toby.
Okay, that's okay.
He looked like a Toby.
Toby?
He looked like a Toby.
so
I'm
he
not
was
sure if it.
Caucasian. I hate to say. I mean,
I
what
hey,
nationality?
you
I'm gonna
know,
look in camera. So
nowadays
I'm gonna
they're
figure
letting
this all
anyone
out.
work anywhere now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
do you know?
Okay.
Think you know who it was? Because I was minding my own business with my emotional support possum named Tucker, and they said I couldn't have him in there.
Emotional support. What kind of animal? I'm sorry.
A possum.
A possum. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Making sure I got all the information
Right.
correctly. Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. And so all I wanted to do was buy a few baseball bats. And you guys escorted me out saying that I couldn't bring that massive rat, I think is what your employee called it, into the facility, which is extraordinarily offensive considering he's, born and raised in
Right.
this country.
Was he in a carrier? Was he on a leash?
No, he was not on a leash. He was next to me. He's
Okay.
very well trained. Okay.
Okay.
He's more well behaved than most children. He has saluted the American flag once, and I believe he should be protected under the First Amendment.
Okay.
Okay. So I would like a refund for the items I was forced to abandon when security escorted me and Tucker, my emotional support possum, out of Dick's Sporting Goods. Can you do that?
Okay. I have to take this higher than myself. This is a very unique situation. So I'm going to take down your information. My boss comes back tomorrow.
Who's your boss?
And
What's her name?
his name is Armin.
Armin. Where's he from?
Armin is
Where's he
the
from?
general manager.
Where's he from?
I'm sorry?
Where's he from?
Where's he from? Like his birthplace?
Yeah. Where's he
I'm
born?
unsure. USA,
Oh.
my understanding.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm unsure.
Okay,
To
great.
be honest with you, to be completely transparent.
Wonderful.
So
Love
this
to
is
hear it.
definitely going to be something that he is going to. I have to confer with him about.
Can you
So
call him right
we're
now?
not able
Can you
to-
call him right
I
now?
cannot, 'cause ma'am. Okay.
Can you
I'm
call
here to
him right
help.
now?
So I cannot, ma'am, because he's at a retreat. So I am unable to reach him. At
How
this moment.
convenient. What
They're
kind of
all
retreat?
the managers are.
What is it, a yoga retreat?
Again,
Is he a vegan or something?
ma'am, I'm trying to help you. So let's keep this as professional as we possibly can.
I'm just
let's get
saying
your
he's at a
information.
retreat. That sounds a little gay.
He's at a manager's retreat, ma'am.
Or is it an all-man retreat?
Okay. All right. So can I get your information so I can get somebody
Yeah,
to call you
of
back?
course. Of course you can.
Fantastic. What
You
is
got your
name?
pen?
Hi.
Linda Karenson. That's K,
How do you spell your last
K,
name? K?
as in kangaroo, A, as in apple bottom jeans,
Okay.
R, as in ridiculous, E, as in N, as in no thank you, S, as in slut shaming, O, as in Oh my God. I can't believe you'd fucking kick me out of Dick's Sporting Goods.
Linda, go ahead and give me your phone number because I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to have the language, and I'm trying to help you because you're not going to get very far with the language. So is your phone number 31?
No, it's not.
Okay, so go ahead and give me your phone number because I'm not the one that kicked you out, but I'm trying to help you. But
818.
Yes.
333 62.
Perfect. We'll go ahead and get you some answers.
Hey,
have a wonderful day.
I'm just, hello? No, I think that went well. I just want to get a refund on those baseball bats. Right, Tucker?